began millions of Earth years ago, a horrific inevitability. Even the most massive of stars age with time. It cannot be helped. Eventually, as they grow older, a star burns through all of its hydrogen and helium at the core, causing outer layers to swell and consume any surrounding planets. They eventually become a red supergiant. When the star, Betelgeuse, began its transformation, its aging self-destruction, a nearby orbiting terrestrial planet's future was assured. It was to be gently nuked. The planet's ability to sustain life evaporating along with its precious oceans before being finally fully engulfed by its host star. For the people inhabiting said planet, one of the most ancient and sophisticated societies in Milky Way galaxy, might we add, this was a disaster. The Betelgeusians were forced to evacuate the planet that had been their home for countless millennia. Of course, the reigning authorities, the overlords of the Order of Orion's Arm, in their infinite foresight, had plenty of time to prepare for their escape. Foreseeing that they would have to spend eons drifting through interstellar space, the overlords commanded that all citizens have their minds uploaded to an evacuation ark ship. The entire civilization then abandoned their meat bodies, utilizing their preserved consciousness to continue existence on board the ship. The overlords launched the whole of the Betelgeusian species into the vast unknown, waiting for the right planet to begin again. Though leaving the planet and becoming galactic refugees destined to roam space was difficult for most Betelgeusians, for two of the young refugees, Finzo and Valadio, it was also an opportunity for adventure. They hoped to explore the vast cosmos firsthand and study the wisdom of some other societies. If they found any, that is. However, best laid plans do not always come to fruition, and seeing as interstellar travel takes a long time, Finzo and Valadio waited. They waited hundreds of thousands of years without encountering a single new intelligent society, while the rest of the Betelgeusians seemed to adjust to the virtual world aboard the ark ship, mingling and chatting together. Finzo and Valadio began to get restless. They wished to see strange and different civilizations, and also, though they were loath to admit it, they missed their meat bodies. Annoyingly, Finzo and Valadio began asking a lot of questions. As you can imagine, being asked, "Are we there yet?" billions of times over in millennia, began to wear down the near limitless patience of the overlords. As well, the general Betelgeusian population didn't love the millions of questions about philosophy, possible alien cultures, and the meaning of it all either. It wasn't long into the space voyage before the entire ship treated the curious pair as outcasts. However, one very sunless day, the ship passed over a planet called Earth, which had a young and strange society of life forms called humans living on it. Finzo and Valadio were determined to visit this mysterious planet, study the humans' culture, and learn about them firsthand, and they thought the overlords would be too. The two young Betelgeusians sent probes down to Earth to collect Earth-like material. From this material, they synthesized native human meat bodies, which they tested out immediately. But, surprisingly, the overlords were not pleased. They were offended that Finzo and Valadio would stop and study such a primitive planet. They were Betelgeusians, not some knuckle-dragging primate. What Finzo and Valadio had done by putting their minds in non-Betelgeusian meat bodies was unthinkable. Unthinkable! There was only one solution to the annoying problem that Finzo and Valadio were creating: excommunication from the ark ship, and from Betelgeusian society in general. The two heretics were dumped into an escape pod and, unceremoniously, blasted away, set on a crash course to collide into their new favorite planet, Earth. After climbing from the wreckage, and eventually establishing themselves as regular old human beings, they discovered, as they had rightly expected, that humans have a lot to say about spirituality, philosophy, and scientific inquiry. And they found out these humans had some bizarre methods of storing it all. Books, films, paintings, plays, you name it. A cornucopia of information. Even though Finzo and Valadio missed their fellow Betelgeusians, they knew they were right to have been so curious. There appeared to be plenty to learn here on Earth. And so they hatched a plan to rejoin their kind. Finzo and Valadio would gather meaningful wisdom and knowledge by studying the works of humanity, and transmit the news back to the Ark ship to show the overlords that the judgment of the human race to be not worth their time was a mistake, and maybe to regain access into Betelgeusian society as well. But for the time being, they call Earth their home. Welcome to the Betelgeusian Blasphemers.